Hey, what's going on, guys? It's PoetRaeMonet, and I am here again on behalf of the authors of Erotica. And today we're going to be talking about helpful branding materials as well as the mobile book kit. For those of you who are interested in erotic poets, please join us at our Facebook group, Authors of Erotica. There's just three little questions to fill out, just so that we have some information about you, and we'll let you on in. No big deal. Now, as well, of course, if you are watching this video via YouTube especially, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below for me as well. Let me know if this stuff is helpful to you, or if there are any other things that you guys want to cover, and I'll definitely be willing and able to do that. So let's talk about some helpful branding materials and the mobile book kit. Now, we're actually going to start with the mobile book kit first because it pretty much has everything in there that we need. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot this week in Authors of Erotica was, branding, how to form your brand, how to put that together. And one of the things that we learned this week is that the 3 C's are extremely important. The 3 C's are clarity, consistency, and constancy. Okay, so clarity of your brand message, like exactly who you are, what you're doing, and that clarity should come across in everything that you're doing, so that every single time someone sees you or your brand, it's easily recognizable. The second thing is consistency. So if you're going to, and I understand that brands change, maybe like a marketing tactic or something. So let's take maybe like Nike as an example, right? Nike has 100,000 different commercials, right? But they all have that same feel to them. So even if they are funny or very serious or whatever, either way, it's a kind of athletic, kind of sports-based brand. And that Nike logo at the end, the font and all of those things are always consistent all the way across the board. So no matter what you're looking at, that Nike brand stays the same. So that's what you want to do with your brand as well. Now, the other one is constancy. That's the last C. So clarity and consistency were the first two. Constancy is the third. So constancy is staying and keeping in contact with your audience, your fan base. So we're going to get to all of those things in just a bit, in a little more detail as well. So let's check out that mobile book kit. So when I go to a show, any place that I'm performing, whether it's a big show where I actually have a table to display my things, or if it's just a small, even if I'm just popping into an open mic to check out like what's going on, I always bring this big box with me. Yeah. This is my mobile book kit, guys. And as you can see here, it's just a little photo keeper. I got this from Michael's, I think, maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got this from Michael's. Like, one of the craft stores will always have this, though. Excuse me. Now, let's talk about this like little box, because when I come walking in with this, people are looking at me. They're like, who is that girl? Like, what is she doing? What the heck is in that box, right? So that already starts kind of the process of, oh, I'm interested in her. Like, what is she doing, right? That's what you kind of want to do as a poet. You want to come in having a little mystery, get people to already be focusing their eyes and attention on you before you ever hit the stage. So in the front of my book box here, I have like a really big flyer. And it has a couple of my book covers on the front, everywhere that you can get my books, what the book is called, who I am, my email, my website, my for all of my, social media pages. And then back here behind this little label is something as well, and I'll show you that right now. So let's open this kit up and take a look. So that flyer that you saw on the front there, that left corner also has, the things that I do, what you can book me for. Like, I'm an erotic poet, professional speaker, guest lecturer, TV, radio, and event host, a seminar leader, whatever you need, I'm going to do it. Okay. So I want you to know all of that information right here. And that's pretty much a comprehensive, very clear idea of who I am and what I'm doing. Now it says that it's an erotic poet. I have a picture that looks a little sexy, right? I have some book covers here that like kind of give that sexiness off as well. So that's kind of keeping you know, consistent in terms of like what my brand is and what I am doing. Let's move on as well to a smaller image. So this is just my little contact card. I give these out to everybody that crosses my path. I have so many of them. I'll put some links and things like that if you guys want to know which company I worked with, or you can source and figure out your own company and what's going to be, you know, the most financially sensible for you. I try to go, you know, dirt cheap with most of my materials. Most of the things that I do are on my own. I don't have a team of people, you know, that work behind me or anything. I'm self-made. That's what I do. Now, on the back of this little flyer here is a poem. Okay, so you get a preview. You get a preview of like who I am and what I'm doing. You get a preview as well of my work. Okay, and then here in the bottom corner, it just has which book that came from. So this is always really helpful. People love like kind of getting this poem on the back as well, because it not only points out like the sexual things, but it also kind of brings that message back too, which is very important. Now, let's go on to see the rest of what is inside of this box here. And I've got a lot of stuff in here, so bear with me for a second. Actually, I'll see. Maybe I can just show you like really quickly. I've got a lot of stuff in here. So let's discuss all of that. Okay. Okay, so books. Of course, I have books in here. I've got tons and tons of books, on other books. So a whole bunch of those too. I have about 20 books that are here inside of this case right now. I could, you know, squeeze maybe another 4 to 6 books in there probably, but I kind of want to leave the space for my other materials. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. So we were talking about clarity and consistency. Let's talk about that in book covers really quickly as well. Clarity and consistency. Sexy image, and this is kind of whited out, so you're not supposed to be easily able to see it, but kind of a sexy image there on the cover of that book. Sexy image here on the cover of this book. Sexy image here on the cover of that book. You guys get it, okay? Let's continue moving on, talk about a few more things that are in this box. As an entrepreneur, obviously, I'm looking to go out and to make sales, right? So if I'm going to make a sale, then I got to have a bag or something, right, for you to go home with. I don't remember going to, you know, the grocery store or anything, and they just let you walk out with your stuff. I don't, you know, unless it's like Sam's or something like that. And I am not a Sam's Club. So bags. And these are just quick little paper bags, again, just from the craft store. And I have a little label on the front that says thank you. Now, this is important. Because consistency is one of those things that's coming in here. The thank you, the font of that, the font of this text here are all Georgia. It's a font I love. I just like it a lot. So I use that font everywhere, as often as possible, as much as I can. Down here at the bottom, got a little switch up there, a little cursive, as if I'm leaving my own, you know, signature behind to say thanks. And of course, a website tag at the bottom. Leaving your website as many places as possible, also really important too. I do want to point out, I don't have a .com, okay? I chose not to. For several years now, I've been continuing to make the decision not to do a .com. But again, that's up to you. One of the things we can get around to in other videos if we want to talk about website building. Now, a few other things that I have in my box here. I've got a price list. Again, same font, Georgia, okay? This little font up here, I believe is called Rockness, maybe. And this font I have in a lot of little funky places as well. So like when I tend to, you know, write at PoetRaeMonet somewhere, it's normally in this kind of font, unless it's for a specific purpose, like with this bag where it's in cursive to kind of, again, make it seem a little more personal. I want to point out as well, I have an email list, okay? And important to point out, the price list and the email list look the same. They have that same kind of background. They have the same fonts. This one has my logo up here in the center. You know, pretty much that same Georgia font again, some space, that Rockness font for at PoetRaeMonet, like the email list and all of those things too. So again, that consistency of branding, of message is very important as well. So, staying in that consistent range, let's talk about other things that are in my book box. This one, and there's three of them in here, but I have one that's about the author, about the artwork, about the candles as well. And those are services that I provide. So while you're standing around, maybe I'm not at the table, maybe I'm talking to another customer. Now, whoever else is around can read this additional information, not only learn more about me, but they learn more about my organization as well. And again, kind of keeping it consistent with those kind of reddish tones. I kind of, decided to like jazz up the background here a little bit because it's a little bit like a flame, right? And kind of fire, sex, emotion, all of those things go hand in hand together. So that's where this comes in as well. So similar font here as to, let me see, similar font here as to the font again that I used for the signature is here. Same Georgia font again. So no matter what you're looking at, it's going to be consistent across the board. You're going to be able to know, oh, this is Rae, this is her message, this is her brand. Okay, so that's really important. Let's talk about other materials that we have in our box as well, because there is not only branding in your actual products, but there's branding in your side products, okay? And there's branding that's included in your giveaways as well. So let's talk about those two really quickly. For side products, okay? I know that, being an author and only being an author is a hard task, okay? So there's definitely a lot of work to do just to sell, books and things. And sometimes we might want to kind of expand and do a little bit more. Like me, I've got, I've showed you guys these pictures last week. This one is the cover for The Bedroom Companion. This one is for Hurt Poems, Hurt People. Now, let's talk about those, because that's actually a really, really good point that I want to bring up as well. So for clarity of brand, okay, for clarity of brand, Hurt Poems for Hurt People is not necessarily on brand for me, okay? I kind of put that book out. My mom wanted me to do like a non-sexual book, so I did one. But here's the thing. It introduces questions into the minds of people who are then coming to learn about me and about what I do. And you don't want that to happen. That introduces not so much clarity into your brand. So that kind of throws off the things. It gets people's wheels turning, and they might feel so much conflict over whatever their questions are that they don't go any further to learn about your brand. So please be very careful about that. Please try to make sure that everything that you're doing is in service to your brand. And if it's not in service to your brand, find a way to tweak it to make it so. I think that's a really, really big deal. And, again, if that's something that you're going to do, I think that, that's the way that you should go about it to have it consistent with the rest of your brand strategy. So let's talk about those giveaways really quickly as well, too. Okay, so I like vibrators. Sorry, not sorry. Now, I don't just give these away, by the way. This is a free gift with purchase. But on the back of those, those little vibrator packs, I also, tape on, hot glue on, whatever you got to do, one of my little thank you tabs there as well, okay? Not only because, is it like an extra thank you, but guess what? You get that email address again. You never know who's going to find the box. You never know who's gonna take a peek at it. Even if it's not your intended customer, maybe they bring the bag home and they sit it down, or they're showing their girlfriends what they picked up, or their boyfriends, or whatever. And those additional people who now have laid eyes on your brand, they now have access to your information. They've now learned a ton of information about you in just a short span of time. So that's really important as well. Another one that I want to talk about, and that's really big for authors, but also underutilized, I find, is pens. Yeah. Now, here's my thing. Do not go dirt cheap with pens, okay? Lots of other materials you can really go dirt cheap on and, kind of skimp here and there and, kind of cut a few, financial corners and still make everything look really nice and cohesive. Pens is not one of them, okay? Because let's be real, especially for authors, okay? How often are we writing? If it's not a good pen, that crap's getting chucked. If the ink is run dry after a week, get it out of here, okay? So what I challenge you to do is find a really nice quality pen. Now this is just an example. This isn't even mine, okay? But this is from Gooseby or Gosby Tax Service. So that's really awesome. Now I have some information about them. I have their address and their phone number. I have their website. Like, I have no clue who they are. I might go look them up after I'm done here. You know what I mean? It's tax time. So might go look them up after I'm done here. But that is the point, right? That someone sees this and has just enough of a push in their mind to go ahead and make that second step, to go to the website, to go to your social media. And maybe there is where you'll have the catalyst to push them on to the next step of actually, I don't know, popping onto Amazon and seeing the landing page for your book. Maybe it's, maybe it's them visiting your website and learning about it there. So definitely make sure that you are also including a call to action in everything that you do. And that circles back around to our third C, which is constancy. So again, constantly on almost everything we've seen today. If my logo isn't on it, and by the way, my logo, I did all this backwards. Like I said, I'm self-grown, self-taught, so I'm learning just like you are. And I did, things kind of backwards. So I created my logo later. So now moving forward, my logo is going to be everywhere and on everything. But try to do those things as early as you can so that you can get as much consistency across the board as possible. So, constancy is what we were talking about. Now, dealing with constancy is where you have, again, that email address showing up everywhere, that website showing up everywhere, that logo showing up everywhere. And then not only with that, okay, you have to back up that consistency, okay, with the constancy on your web pages, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, it is an endless job. Okay, I want to tell you, this is not something that you can just do and you post once or twice and you just leave it there and be like, okay, well, it's out there. Everybody knows I'm an author and they're going to buy my book. They won't. Okay, I just want to be honest with you. It is very difficult to, keep constantly posting, keep constantly reminding people that you're an author, that this is what you do, to constantly have material as well that is in line with your brand. So that's another thing that I've sort of started to work on, is actually changing the face a little bit of my Facebook and Instagram pages, my Twitter account and things, so that almost everything, a couple of family pictures in there, you Taco Tuesday photos and stuff like that. And that's fine. I'm still a person. But 90% of my social media posts are related to sex, sexuality, eroticism in some way, so that it's still like, even if you're visiting my page, for one particular thing, you're still going to learn about things in that brand. You're still going to learn about things in that kind of process. Now let me see here. I think, the only two things I have left in this box right now are my little Square reader and my little Visa MasterCard sign. So those aren't really going to do much for my personal branding, but they can always help sales. I think that's all that I have for you guys this week. We will, reconvene next week. We'll have something new to talk about. And I believe, I believe that it is audiobooks that we're going to be covering next week, kind of taking a peek at my schedule there. But yeah, we're going to be covering audiobooks next week, so we're going to get into that and talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. So remember those 3 C's: consistency, constancy, clarity, okay? You are going to need those across the board at all times to build yourself a strong brand. And please remember as well, like, grab yourself a little mobile book kit. Like, grab yourself, something small and distinct where you can carry your materials and you can present yourself as a professional, because the more professional you are and the more serious that you are about your work, the more serious other people will take you. So, dress for the job you want, right? All right, guys. Well, that's all I have. I am PoetRaeMonet again here on behalf of the authors of Erotica. I hope that you guys were able to, maybe learn something, glean a little something from this conversation today. And of course, like, subscribe, comment, do all of that good stuff. And let me know if this is helpful to you at all, because if it's not, we can change some things around. If you need other topics, like, let me know. We are going to discuss everything that we can. We're going to get this money in 2020. All right. Y'all have a wonderful time. We'll talk later. Bye.